my name is Maureen Josephine, a software engineer, and that's my Twitter handle. So the interesting thing that Okoth mentioned, that I recently became a Flutter GDE in Sub-Saharan, the first female Flutter GDE in Sub-Saharan Africa. So I take it as an opportunity to continue doing what I've been doing. It's more of just a recognition of what I've been doing with the community and Flutter itself. And it's my pleasure for you to join us today and come and learn with me. So today I'm going to talk about Flutter and Bluetooth, and also to get your insights revolving around that. But before then, let me tell you about me. So if you can see my screen, the picture, okay. If you can see my screen, the picture that you're seeing currently is me, but that's not me right now. So this is a picture I took some time back. I have a mask, but I just removed it to take a picture. So this is the lakeside city of Kisumu, which is majorly the main headquarter of Flutter Kisumu. So this is by the lakeside, and this is not me today. However, so who am I? So I'm a tech communities lover, as I've mentioned. I organize the Flutter Kisumu events with the help of Okoth, Chantel, and Sigu, who are not here with us today. I'm also an event organizer for GDG Kisumu, whereby we schedule events mostly revolving around the Dev Fest and the Google Developer Festivals. I'm also a WTM, that is Women Tech Makers Ambassador. This is more of just being involved in the community, helping women around me to also thrive within the tech field. Then I'm also a Flutter enthusiast. By this, I mean, I am so passionate about Flutter. I started doing Flutter around 2018, towards the end of 2018. Yeah, and that's how I developed passion around it. So stories on how what made me fall in love with Flutter, that will be a story for another day. And also I'm a software engineer. So professionally, I do both Flutter and backend engineering. And for backend, I use Java as my main stack for backend development. Yeah, and you can as well reach me on Twitter with that name at j_Kelo. So why Flutter? Before we get into the integration bit between integrating Flutter and Bluetooth. So why Flutter? And because we've always seen that people recommend Flutter does this and this, but why should we use Flutter? So I'm going to ask someone maybe from the audience to tell us maybe briefly what Flutter is and one or two of its advantages. And I'm going to pinpoint Robert, because he said that he does Flutter for passion. So why Flutter, Robert?
Flutter was really the first and is the most developed and mature declarative user interface development environment. Mm-hmm. It's also got things like hot reload, which means mm-hmm. you change the code, you save the file, instantly your app is updated. Depending on the extent of your change, you can instantly see what you've done. I actually find it sometimes faster than reloading a web page in terms of the responsiveness and the quick development cycle I can achieve. As the screen shows, your apps will run decently fast, at least, because you're not dealing with something like Java, which ends up being interpreted after you've created it. This Flutter actually is compiled to native code when you go to a production build. And really, it's the developer experience for me, why I love Flutter. It is a joy to create apps with this tool. I think that sums it up. There are lots of technical advantages, lots of other things that could be said about it, but it's the developer experience for me.
Yeah, so yeah, really, that's a really great insight from you. Yeah, and that's the reason why I love Flutter. So today, my main agenda is we're going to see just briefly what's Flutter, why Flutter, and what's Bluetooth for. Okay, you may have interacted with Bluetooth, but what really is Bluetooth, and why connect apps with Bluetooth, and how Bluetooth works, and how to add the Bluetooth functionality to Flutter. And I also have some open questions that I came up with when I was doing this implementation. So I'll also ask you that. So as Robert has mentioned, so Flutter, this is Flutter. It enables you to develop apps. So instead of writing two different codes, that's for Android and iOS, to achieve the same goal. So Flutter helps you to write one code and deploy it in different platforms like iOS and Android at the same time. I haven't really let me say I haven't really implemented Flutter on Windows or Flutter on desktop, but that's something to try out. Yeah, but my experience with Flutter is mostly the mobile bit, whereby the Flutter on the other side of Flutter on the mobile bit, that's Flutter for Android and iOS. So what really is Flutter? So Flutter is a cross-platform open source mobile SDK. So by cross-platform, it means that it can run on different platforms at the same time. And it was unveiled in 2015. So for me, the first time I heard about Flutter was in 2018. Yeah, 2018, though it was unveiled earlier in 2050, but the first time I interacted with it was, let me say not interacted, but heard about it was 2018. I just had people talking about Flutter, why not Flutter, yeah. And that's when I got interested to try it out. So the first version of Flutter was called Sky, and it ran only on the Android OS. And the language that's used to write Flutter apps is Dart. So if you are coming from the Java world, I had someone said he's a backend developer. So if you're coming from the Java world, that's the object-oriented programming techniques and stuff. So, and you just want to get started with Flutter, then you can easily get along with Flutter. Okot said he's a beginner in Flutter. So if you are from the object-oriented side, then you can easily learn that and get along with it very well. So these are some of the features of Flutter. So as I've mentioned, it's based on Dart as its main programming. The main programming language that's used to write Flutter apps is Dart, and it's quicker and simple to write. Actually, the first time, because my background was more on the Android side, so my first interaction with the Flutter code, I felt like, oh, this is really simple, because on the Android, you have to write the declarative layout separately. That's the XML separately from the logic. So when I started writing Flutter, I found that this is actually really easier and simple, because from my experience on the other side, I had to write the XML layout separately from the logic. So this is one of the things that I found interesting in this. And also in the sense that it's cross-platform, so it's easy to test. So you don't have to test like two separate apps. But if you're running this on the same, let me say if your target devices are two, the Android and the iOS, and you wrote one code, so it's easy to test it once, instead of writing like separate Android code and separate iOS code, which is written in Swift or Objective-C. Then there's the smooth performance, plus it's open source. And actually, one thing interesting about this is that the Flutter community is very friendly. So if you have issues with Flutter, you can always get help. However, when I actually started writing Flutter, I had this challenge of getting resources and actually getting people to maybe answer my questions, because when I started, there were few or less resources to point you to the right direction. But right now, the community has really grown, and there are so many resources, and many people are contributing to the code. Yeah, so these are the benefits of Flutter development. So from a company perspective, so it's great for MVP. Let me say the company wants to demo something, you can easily bootstrap a Flutter app very quick for that. And it also has that rapid app development benefit, in the sense that you write one code and deploy it in different environments. Plus, there's also this capability of engaging designs. Yeah, so this is something I've experienced, but I think I'll tell you maybe later on when have that specific talk regarding designs. So yeah, it's actually very interesting. And the faster QA process, in that you just test the whole feature once, and also the single code for multiple platforms. So from a company perspective, this will help instead of hiring one Android developer and a different iOS developer. So you just hire a Flutter developer to do all the things. Yeah, and that's it. So why integrate Bluetooth with Flutter? So this is where Bluetooth now comes in. And I would really be interested to know, when was the first time you interacted with Bluetooth? The first time I interacted with Bluetooth, I had this phone. I don't know if you can see it. This is a feature phone. And long time ago, okay, let me say these were the major phones that were available, or rather that we could afford during that time. And the only thing that you could do was buy a memory card, then insert it there. Then when you want to transfer a song from this feature phone to another, some of these phones didn't have that capability, but some of them had. So when you have that, you have this song that you want to share with someone, so you just start on your Bluetooth and share it with the other person. So I'd really love to know, when was your first interaction with Bluetooth, especially from the device perspective? The Bunchu. I don't know if I pronounced the name correctly. The Panchu. Yeah. Maybe tell us your insights on when you first interacted with Bluetooth.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, yes.
Yeah. So like regarding Bluetooth, I have like already worked with like smart home devices actually. So like where like I was involved to that connect Bluetooth with Android app itself. So like that's where I have worked on that part itself using hardware APIs actually, that native Android hardware APIs. But in terms of Flutter, I don't know much like how it works and all. So yeah, that's where I have like worked.
All right. Yeah, so that's great to know. So yeah, so as he has mentioned, so this interaction, or let me say the actual implementation with Bluetooth, I'm going to show you my experience of how I did it and the challenges I faced. Yeah, so thank you for that, Dipanshu, if I pronounced it correctly.
Yes.
Yeah, so what really is Bluetooth? So Bluetooth is that technology that enables exchange of data from devices between a different distance. So another thing that, let me say from experience, you can't transfer, when I have my Bluetooth on in this phone and someone is maybe in the same apartment but far away, let me say ground floor and a faraway place, that connection transfer, or rather let me say exchange of that communication between these the Bluetooth device that I turn on this phone to the other phone is not possible. So maybe that's something maybe we can explore more on the limitation of Bluetooth and things like that. So it's just a technology that enables exchange of data if you want some music to transfer to another person and things like that. So how really does Bluetooth work? So Bluetooth wirelessly connects to different devices, such as your phone or your laptop. And it eliminates the need for USB card when you exchange data between two devices, because you'll just turn on your Bluetooth device, then you're able to transfer data from one phone to another. And another question is, why Bluetooth? Why do we really need Bluetooth? So one thing about Bluetooth is that it's wireless and it's not dependent on any other network. So by this, I mean, you don't need a Wi-Fi connection to use Bluetooth, and Bluetooth that doesn't use your mobile data. So when you enable that Bluetooth on your phone, it won't use any of your mobile data. So these are some of the questions that I was asking myself that maybe would be relevant to you. So let me say I'm using an app that have integrated with Bluetooth, and the connection that I'll have, is it really secure? So this is something I was questioning. Like when you add that Bluetooth integration to your app, or maybe let me say your app should be connecting to maybe a smart device. You are working in the health tech field, whereby you need Bluetooth to connect to other smart devices that are being used in the hospital. So one of the questions I was asking myself is, are Bluetooth connections really secure? And this is something I would really want to hear from you. Maybe, Okot, do you have any insights if Bluetooth connections are secure?
Honestly speaking, I'm not so sure of the same. Yeah. So.
Okay, then this is an open question to anyone else. Do you think Bluetooth connections are secure? Because from my experience, sorry, who is talking?
Simon. I'm just giving a guess. I'm not really sure they are.
Oh, you're not really sure they are? Yeah, because from my experience, if you're working with your phone and you have like your Bluetooth on, you'll always be like, oh, my Bluetooth is on, let me turn it off. So yeah, this is something that I'm always, let me say, skeptical of leaving my Bluetooth on, because I'm not really sure if the connection is secure. I somehow think that maybe hackers can intercept the connection, but I'm not sure. Maybe Robert, do you have any experience regarding this?
No, I don't. I really have not used Bluetooth significantly. I mean, what I've heard sounds similar to the rumors other people have, that it's not particularly secure. I was in the middle of Googling it and just came up with top 5 Bluetooth security vulnerabilities as a, near top hit. So I'd say it's certainly something to be concerned about.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am not a security expert. I have never pretended to be a security expert. Nothing I say should be used as security advice.
Yeah. So that's great to know. But this is something I'm much interested to do more research on. That's the security of Bluetooth connection. Also, one other open question I had was when not to use Bluetooth. Or the question should be, do people really still use Bluetooth?
Yes, like this headphone of mine, it's a wireless. Sometimes I go wireless. Yeah, I use Bluetooth to go wireless.
Okay. or rather, let me rephrase the question. Do you still use Bluetooth to transfer music for the transferring of files and things like that?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. I've not used it in a while.
Yeah, I can say that I definitely use Bluetooth on a regular basis for keyboard connections, using a Bluetooth keyboard with my Android devices. And I just acquired a Bluetooth switch device for accessibility testing.
Ah, nice.
I use Bluetooth also for music transfer.
Oh, really?
Yes,
You mean from one phone to another?
precisely, yeah. And also sending photos.
Yeah, because I haven't used it for a long time, or let me say it's my personal issue because I don't transfer music or share with people music via Bluetooth. Yeah, I can just say it's my personal issue.
So
yeah.
the reason why I use Bluetooth is because I have this phone that no longer supports WhatsApp, so but it still has Bluetooth. So the best way to have my old photos and I can send them to myself via WhatsApp is via Bluetooth.
Ah, nice. That's a good case scenario.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a good case scenario. And yeah, so for other things, connecting devices and Wi-Fi, let me say music and stuff. Yeah, I've used Bluetooth and I'm still using Bluetooth. And yeah, when not to use Bluetooth, especially an application. So this is something I will do research. I will do more research on. Maybe Okot, would you please mute?
Sorry.
Yeah, because I was hearing something. So yeah. So this is another thing I should do more research on when not to really use Bluetooth, especially in our applications and stuff. So these are some of the Flutter packages that have been implemented with the Bluetooth functionality. So I personally tried using both of them, the one for Flutter Blue and the one for Flutter Bluetooth serial. And I have, let me just open. Yeah, and I have my findings. So this one, okay, for me, how I normally select my package is by the popularity percentage. So this one is 97% popular, and this other one, let me just open it as well. Is 94% popular. So I tried using both of them to kind of see some distinction between them. But then I realized that this Flutter Bluetooth serial kinds of implements, let me say it's somehow built on top of this Flutter Blue. Which is 97% popular. So when you check out the scores of this package, you realize that, so this one follows the DAT file conventions. It's an X for providing documentation, which is something I noticed, because for someone who is getting started with this, you can really struggle on how to do it. And this one is still maybe supporting multiple platforms. But from the blogs I read, I found out that it's possible to use this Flutter Blue to integrate in both iOS and the Android bit. However, I didn't really experiment this on the iOS bit because I don't have an iOS device. So I can't really satisfy the part for supporting multiple platforms. Then passing the static analysis, I don't know why this is rated as 20 over 30. Then support to update dependency. Yeah, this one was also a struggle. And it also, one pass for it is that it supports the Null Safety. So maybe the Null Safety thing, can someone maybe tell us what Null Safety is? Maybe Candy.
I'll actually take that one if you like, Maureen.
Yeah, no problem.
Null Safety is a Flutter 2.2 feature, which parallels how Kotlin works with nulls. In short, null is now baked into the type system of Dart as of Dart 2.2. The original versions of Dart were much more like JavaScript. Anything could be null, anything could have kind of any type at all. It was not that strongly typed. It was very optional. With Flutter 2, they made things much more strongly typed. And now with Flutter 2.2, they've said, if you want a variable to allow null, you need to be specific that that type does allow null. Unlike Java, where anything could be either an object foo or a null. You always have that option. Anything is nullable. If you were smart, you went and used the @nullable or @non-nullable annotation, so you knew which ones were and weren't. When Kotlin came out, they said, no, we need to be a little stronger about that. And so if you wanted a nullable foo, you had to write foo ? Dart now has that same level of null safety. And really, it's a safety net for making sure you're not going to get null pointer exceptions when you don't expect them to be possible. If you're sure that something has a value, you can now, it is now asserted by the type system of the language and how you code it. And things won't compile if the compiler is pretty sure that something can be null, even though you think maybe it can't. But you now have some choices about, better choices about how to work with null values.
Cool. That's a great insight.
So, Robert, just to ensure that I get you right. So, for instance, okay, there's usually, we usually have the falsy value, the false and the falsy value where it's either nil or false, right? So anything, I mean the truthy value, not falsy, sorry. So anything which is not null, or I'm just comparing it from another language. Maybe I may be borrowing a concept which is not existing here. So for example,
I'm afraid that truthy falsy distinction is more applicable to Clojure or Elixir than it is really with Dart. And Dart and Java are both fairly strict that things should become actual Booleans. That you do, if you need a comparison, you do a comparison to get a genuine Boolean value.
Also, null is not okay. I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you are coming from Elixir background, right? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's it. So this they're saying that this package supports the null safety. However, from my experience, if you are using this package with not updated, let me say a lower version of Flutter, it won't really work because I tried it. Okay, I was trying it in different, let me say different platforms. Yeah, one with an updated Flutter version and one with not updated Flutter version. So this can be a challenge if you are running this Flutter Bluetooth package in a not updated Flutter, because it's now using the updated changes and dependencies. So so how to use it? So how can you really use this Flutter plus Bluetooth? So the first thing that you need to do is, let me just go through the installation. So the first thing that you need to do is add this command to add this package within your, so this command is going to add this package within your pubspec.yaml. So the latest version is this one. So it's also good when you are doing this, especially in a production environment, just ensure that you have the latest package running. Then after doing that, you'll add the import. So I'm just going to show you the kind of code that we have. And something challenging that I was still struggling with is actually testing this on an emulator. So do any of you know if, or rather, do any of you know an emulator, let me say an Android emulator that supports Bluetooth? Because I struggled to look for them and didn't find any amongst the ones that I have. None of them are supporting that. None of them have that Bluetooth functionality. So it's kind of hard to show you how this connection is going to work, but it works on an actual device. I think they mentioned it as well in their documentation. Let me just see. Yeah, they say that please be fully prepared to deal with breaking changes. This package must be tested on a real device. So this is one of the challenges I faced, especially when using this, trying to test it on an emulator. But this is an open question to you. Do you know of any emulators that support Bluetooth functionality? Because I found close to none.
Well, Maureen, I think if even on their documentation they say that they recommend real devices, then it means that they probably checked on all emulators and none works. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
my take.
Thank you. Or maybe anyone else? Because that was also a struggle from my end. I'll actually show you when you click that scan button to scan and you run it on the terminal, you'll just see that it returns null to show that there's no, the emulator does not support the Bluetooth functionality. So as I mentioned, the first thing that you need to do is adding the package here. So, and make sure that you use the latest dependencies. That's for Flutter Blue and this one. So I did everything in one file, which is not really advisable. It's good to separate concerns, but for the sake of demo, I wanted to come up with something short to show you how it really works. So so if anyone is new to Flutter, or rather this is your first time interacting with the Flutter code, so this is the main, where you see me highlighting is the main function of a Flutter app, whereby this main function is going to call the run app method, which calls the my app class, which is down here. So when it calls my app, it's going to place it as the root of the project, whereby, so this class my app is where I have all my functionality, and everything that I have placed within my app is what's going to be shown here. So this for this one, this is a stateless widget, and stateless widget is a widget that whose state doesn't change. So something to do with the app states and everything is topic that requires its own session, because people have various, let me say, various approaches and various thoughts on which state to use on an app and things like that. So after doing this, so this is a stateless widget, and it's going to return the material. Oh, sorry. It's going to return the material app. So this material app, if you want to know more about it, you just simply click it here and you'll get more information of how it really works rather than just seeing it there. So it creates that material app, and as they have commented there, at least one of home roots must be null. So if only roots is given, it must include an entry for the navigator and things like that. But it's more of like giving your app that, let me say, adding the material app widgets or functionality for your app so that you can use the recommendation by the Google or that are placed on the material app design. So you can try to implement or rather build on top of those material app design. So let me just go back. Yeah, and it's just a simple app with a title and things like that. So where does Bluetooth now comes in? So this, my app has its home as the homepage, my homepage. So my homepage is where the actual implementation of the Bluetooth is at. And if you can see, it's a stateful widget. So a stateful widget is a widget, for the Bluetooth. It's because I'm going to, the state of the app is going to change when I'm trying to scan these available devices. So how you do it is after creating a stateful widget, and so after creating a stateful widget, make sure that you have it the way it is there. Then now is when now you try to add the Bluetooth now functionalities, and you'll need these variables to initiate that Bluetooth scanning. So we have this Flutter Blue. So it's more of a method, let me say a class that enables that, let me say initiates that process. So when you have it there, you're going to initiate that Bluetooth instance. Then this list is going to show the results of the scanned list. And the Boolean is just for, let me say Boolean is always true or false. So it's just a variable to show you when it's true, do this, and when it's false, do this. And from the init state method, this is where we're going to initiate the initial state of this process by calling this init Bluetooth scanning. So this is where the actual scanning happens. And this method is down here. So what does this init Bluetooth scanning does? So this is just my method name. I named it this way, but you can name it in any other way that you prefer. So what does this method do? So its main functionality is to scan for available Bluetooth devices. And what it does is it's going to call this other instance, the Flutter Bluetooth instance, from where it's going to listen this scanning from. And after that, it's going to set the state. So I'm just going to show you. Oh, really? I'll have to rerun it afresh. I see we are 4 minutes to time, but I'll just do it quickly. So for running this, you can always run it via IDE or via terminal, whichever way you prefer. But I just want to show you what really happens when I do this. However, for your own sake, I'm going to share the link. I'm going to push these changes to GitHub so that you can get the changes on GitHub. If you're doing this on your personal project, maybe you can check 1 or 2 to actually test it on a real device, because this is not going to run on the emulator. But I just want to show you what really happens when I press it. You're going to see the changes up there. So it's still running. Oh, really? It's not opening right now. Let me run it from the terminal.
Demo gods, right?
It's that time. That time when it decides to embarrass you.
Oh, it now went to Chrome. Oh my God. Let me do this.
The emulator looks like it's off.
Yeah, that's what I'm not understanding, because it should be on. Let me try to. Yeah, an interesting question. Have you ever tried, okay, whoever has played around with Bluetooth, have you ever tried it on the web? And if it really works? This is not just for Flutter only.
No.
Or you said no? Oh yeah, it's now building. Yeah, so let's wait for it to finish building, then try to explore it a little bit. So what happens is this search is supposed to scan for available Bluetooth devices. So when you can see from the error, it says that wait, unhandled exception, platform exception. So Bluetooth unavailable, the device that does not have Bluetooth. So that's the major challenge with running this on an emulator. But when you actually run this on your phone, you're able to scan the available devices and try to connect to one or two. So one question I had is, where can you actually use this Flutter plus Bluetooth functionality? And this is an open question. Where would you use the Bluetooth functionality in your app? So for me, one, use it especially if, okay, from my background, I work in a health tech and health tech world. So how I can use Bluetooth is to connect to our, let me say, fingerprint scanning devices. So that's one way I can maybe connect from my my device to the physical fingerprint scanner if it has a Bluetooth functionality. Yet I'm not sure, because most of them I normally see they have that USB cable to connect okay. Yeah, to connect to your devices. So one way I can use it is in those fingerprint scanning devices, the physical one that you have to plug into your computer. So we can use this Bluetooth functionality and add that Bluetooth functionality in your Flutter app, so that when you scan it, now it will get the other fingerprint scanner. Then now you're able to use it to scan instead of connecting the cable to your machine or something like that. So where would you really use Bluetooth in your day-to-day development? Maybe Zlati.
Hey, yeah, well, I was making an app that will help you basically quit bad habit of smoking. And for this purpose, it was really important for me that all the data is offline. So I'm not storing any tracking data anywhere except on the phone. So if you clean up the data of the app, you lose the data, right?
Yeah.
So my plan was actually to add maybe some Bluetooth functionality to give the possibility to the user, like download to his own computer some statistical data for his habit, for quitting his habit, how well he's going, right? Or even transfer that data to another device if you buy a new phone.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. However, I'm not really clear on the download bit. Is it possible to use Bluetooth for the download functionality?
Well, I think you can send any kind of bytes. Doesn't matter if it's images or music or some text files. So if it can send text files, I would expect it can send CSV files, which is basically, you know, Excel's for graphics.
Ah, cool. That's a really great idea on how to implement the Bluetooth functionality, because I was asking myself, well, okay, the Bluetooth functionality is really nice, but where can one really use it? So that's really a nice way to use it. And it can be useful, especially if you're now using it on an actual device. Yeah. Thank you, Zlati. Is it Zlati or Ziati?
It's Zlati with L, Zlati.
Zlati. Oh, cool. Thank you. Maybe any other person, as I welcome room for questions. I think
Yeah, actually, maybe I'll talk about the project we're actually doing. We're trying to implement a clone of AirTags. I don't know if you've seen AirTags from Apple. Where parents, first in Uganda, there was a big habit of people kidnapping children. So we're trying to work on a device where it can be in a necklace for a kid and it's paired to the parents. So if a Bluetooth loses connection, then the parent would get an alarm or a notification or something on their phone to be able to know that there's something wrong with the kid, or the kid is not in the vicinity. So that's one big application, but it actually works. The solution is when the Bluetooth, I'm
interested to know what really happens. Does the distance range matter? Like,
yes, it really matters. Actually, that's where we are actually stuck. We're trying to make an order in China to get those buttons that have two-way traffic, where basically a chip button that can be paired with a device and that has a very long-lasting battery, and that's one of the challenges. That's why we're a bit stuck, but we're still trying to find it. Basically, parents will be able to keep their kids secure. That's where we're going to use Bluetooth.
Yeah, so my question is, can someone use it? Let me say I'm in Kenya, I have the device, and someone is in the same country, but in another place. Let me say I'm in Nairobi, and let me say someone else is in Kisumu. So does that distance really matter?
Yes, Bluetooth is limited by distance. And I think it's like about 10 meters. I'm not really sure of that number. So once it goes over that, then you lose the connection. Bluetooth can't work over the web. That's what I would think. Yes. So which really helps with the solution that your kid has to be around you. Basically, your child has to be near you. Your child has to be near you. So if someone is trying to kidnap your child and they go over that distance, then that alarm would actually trigger the alarm on your phone.
Okay. So where do you place this Bluetooth on the child, or they have the device?
No, it's that we're trying to get a very small button, which can be in the child's pocket or as a necklace or in their shoes. Yes, or in their shoes, somewhere hidden around them, or in those I don't know, those things where they push them from. So basically anything, it can be in their pockets. Since we're trying to get a very small button, say very, very small, that can be anywhere hidden. And since most of these kidnappers, they don't really check their kids, they just get the kid and run away. It would really help them.
Cool. Yeah, that's a really nice idea.
Yes.
Yeah, I would really be interested to see how it works, and maybe if it can really work on a Flutter device, maybe a mobile device, so that when a parent has their phone, now they can quickly check if the connection dropped or something. Yeah. So thank you for that. Do we have any other questions, or rather how you can implement Bluetooth on any application?
I was wondering what your experience with the two different packages were. I mean, where would I use Flutter Bluetooth Serial as opposed to Flutter Blue directly? And what was it like using each of them?
Yeah, that's a really nice question, because I tried implementing both. So the only difference is that this Flutter Bluetooth Serial is limited to one. It's not cross-platform. It only works on the Android devices. But this Flutter Blue works on both Android and iOS, though I didn't test it with an iOS device because I don't have an iOS device. So that's the only thing. Maybe I'll try to check out later. But this one, it works on an Android device, and the implementation is pretty much the same. So when you can see, as you can see, so this is the dependency that you have to put in your pubspec.yaml. And after that, you import the package the way we do it normally. And so, yeah, this has the try catch method, which you can use for the connection. So for the Bluetooth connection, I tried both of them, and it actually works the same way, because when you check the code of this, let me see somewhere, let me see this example. Oh, they don't. They haven't. Oh, they didn't put more details. Let me just open it on. So when you check the code of this Flutter Bluetooth serial, it's actually implementing this at the Flutter Blue. It's kind of somehow built on top of it, because when you see its functionality is more of the same, like they've implemented it almost the same way. However, maybe there are one or two things that are different that I really didn't notice. But when you do it, it's actually the same. It scans the same way, especially when you run this on a physical device. It scans the same way. The only difference is how they have implemented it, and somehow it's built on top of this Flutter Blue. So when you see the scores of it, yeah, this is 94% popular, and yeah, they have an X for follow that file conventions. So I'm really not sure if to give it, let me say, a pass for this. Yeah, but I really struggled with this as well. The that file conventions is somehow ish about it. The good thing about it is that they provided documentation, and the thing that's let me say the disadvantage about it is that it doesn't support multiple platforms, because it only supports the Android bit, doesn't support the iOS bit. So this is also something I was questioning, because this Flutter Blue also supports only, this one supports Android and iOS, but I was really questioning, does it also support Flutter for web or Flutter for desktop? Yeah, but right now it only supports supports, yeah.
If you look at the top, it's pretty clear it does support Mac OS. So it's got one of the desktop platforms.
Oh, really? Where is it? I can't see it.
See the little blue bar?
Oh, yeah. Ah, okay.
Yeah, I would honestly not expect web support, because the web, the browser is going to have to somehow interact with the underlying platform to get at a radio.
Yeah.
Browsers typically don't do that themselves. In fact, they don't do that themselves, in my experience. So it's going to be, somehow it's got to reach into the platform.
Yeah.
I don't know if the web really has that much potential to support that kind of device level functionality.
Yeah, and they've mentioned it here. The package does not support Flutter platform for web, because this package that declares support for platforms Android, iOS, and macOS. Ah, okay.
Josephine, I have one small question. Did you manage to transfer any files or any images or anything between the two devices?
Between the devices that were.
If you install the app on two devices, were you able to transfer any files?
Actually, the way I was doing it was the other way. I was trying to scan from my device to another device to kind of see the connection, if it connects with my device with the other device. But I really didn't try trying to send file from this phone to another phone, because on the implementation of the code, I didn't add that functionality of let me say, okay, when you have that connection, so what should you do next? Yeah, I think that's something you should add within the code, maybe that functionality of, okay, after connection, so what should you do? Should you transfer files, or should you download something? So on my side, I was trying to do it from the other perspective of trying to see if it's really possible to connect this device with another device. The only challenge is I was not able to get, because I was trying to, after installing this Flutter Bluetooth app, which I think from my perspective still needs more development. When you try to connect the app that you built, let me say this one, when you try to scan for another device, let me say headphones, it was not finding it. So I really should ask if this package supports other devices apart from phone-to-phone connection, if it supports other things like headphones, or maybe your radio that uses Bluetooth and things like that. So from my perspective, I was trying to see, because this is something that really excites me, connecting from one device to another. So I was trying to see if it really connects from my phone with another phone. And kind of there's limitation when you have a Bluetooth device on for, let me say, a feature phone like this one. When I turn the Bluetooth on for this one and I try to scan it with the app that I built, it doesn't find the Bluetooth connection for this phone. Yeah, so those are some of the questions maybe we can ask the development team for this package, and maybe things that we can do to improve it. Yeah, so we are past time with 14 minutes. Do we have any other questions?
Maybe to add on, this was a really nice session, MJ. I liked it. So for your found it and add more features that I've forgotten his name, the guy from Uganda, the question that you just asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and see if somebody is able to like transfer data from, since you're able to like view the application, your Bluetooth. So we try to see if we can add another feature to maybe transfer file or anything.
Yeah, that's a great point. Or maybe even build on top of this, because I feel that other functionalities, like maybe transferring things and stuff, those are some of the things, or maybe the logic that you can add within your code as you use the Bluetooth package itself. And we can also think about how it can work with other things. For example, the idea of the app that I had of fingerprint scanner. If now we have the app that we built that has the Bluetooth functionality, can it really scan that fingerprint scanner? So those are some of the things maybe we should look into. Thank you, Kendi, for that.
I'm Zlati here. I want to add some more, a bit knowledge about this plugin. I first heard about this plugin on some presentation from Emily Fortuna, I believe. She was demonstrating like connecting like a colorful hair with lamps and all that stuff, and she was controlling this via the phone, via Bluetooth. I believe this is available somewhere in YouTube. And even back then, it was having some issues, like some bugs. I believe even she made some pull requests to fix those bugs. And by looking at the network of the repository, I see that there are quite a lot of forks. And there is one particular fork that is trying to fix most of the bugs that this plugin has, not the Bluetooth series, but the Flutter Blue. And I'm watching that closely. Basically, in the issues, there are quite a lot of issues. You see, almost 500. There are a lot of calls from actually calling Flutter team to step in and make it like Flutter officially supported plugin and not some third party. I really want to believe that someday this will be usable enough, and I'm not gonna try to beg to my colleagues that know Swift and all that stuff to write the native functionality for me.
Yeah, that's a nice suggestion, really. Yeah, because I noticed that it still has more features. Though it's functional, when you scan a device, you'll find another device. But now from a functionality point of view, that's something I still have. I still had doubts, especially on the actual implementation of transferring things and things like that. So thank you for the insights. Yeah, it actually has 487 issues. And I think I'll also add some of the issues I faced within the package, so that when someone picks them up, or rather, if I have time maybe to check it now closely, we can fix it, things like that.
Yeah, it would be nice if you motivate all the GDEs to actually step up and support this a bit more.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, do we have any other questions? Sorry about that. We are past time by 18 minutes. Okot, maybe?
Yeah, sorry, I stepped out a little. Yeah, so I missed most of the conversation, but yeah, so
we are on the
thank you.
QA part.
Yeah, I picked it from where Zlati was talking. So actually, so what I just want to say thank you, Maureen, for bringing the insight. It was more of a discussion and sharing idea than one lady's show. So that's good. And also, I also want to thank participants who contributed. And we'll be sharing this recording, and we usually put them on YouTube. Plus the GitHub repo Maureen has talked about, we'll share them as maybe in a week's time, we'll share everything with you. Yeah, so I think that closes the meeting for us, unless there's any issue or any question. I'll give it a 1, a 2, a 3. Thank you very much, Maureen. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right, so thank you everyone for coming, and it would be nice when you try this on your own. If you find any issues, you can just add them here so that we can see maybe how to make this better.
Okay.
So thank you all for joining, and I really appreciated your inputs and your ideas. So insightful. Thank you so much.
Bye.